Hi everyone, I'm Michael Pittman, the Assistant Dean for E-Learning, and I'm here to give you some tips as you go about your e-learning work. So like all types of teaching, how you teach depends on your class type and also the learning outcomes that you're aiming for. So e-learning in that regard is no different. However, it is a field that's less well studied than traditional learning. There's less academic literature on e-learning. However, the tips I'm going to give you are general and should apply to all of the e-learning that we want to be doing in the faculty. So I hope they are useful. The first set of points I want to talk about relates to learner engagement, because when you're teaching via a screen, it's much harder to engage with the student on the other side. So we have to do some extra things to make sure that we give the students a great experience and deliver on our learning outcomes. We're very used to nowadays looking at highly produced content, but as a university, we're not in the business of making movies. But we can do some small things that can actually make a big difference. One of them is to actually simply show our graphics more often. And a good rule of thumb is once every 30 seconds. So that keeps students tuned in. So say if you have a lecture slide that you would normally stay on for a few minutes, if it has a number of panels, is there a way of actually breaking down that slide so that you can change the graphic on screen more often? Now, another thing is to do with the actual structure of your lectures, because your lectures are going to have multiple key points. Using those key points as natural breaks to dictate how many and how long the different videos of your lecture are is a really great strategy. So say one topic takes 8 minutes, another topic takes 12 minutes. Those are nice natural breaks. The students can see where one topic starts and finishes, and you end up with a nice series of bite-sized videos. However, with a 2-hour lecture slot, you don't want too many videos. So perhaps more realistic is to kind of go towards maybe 20 minutes as an upper bound for the length. So you kind of have a bit of a balance. But I would say videos no less than 10 minutes, given that 2-hour requirement that we have. So another thing is to do with the actual materials out there that we could use in our teaching. I mentioned that everyone's used to this highly produced content, but there's loads of it on YouTube, on massive open online courses, MOOC courses, that allow you to take that material and use it free of charge in a classroom setting. So for example, on YouTube, you might find a particular experiment that you would have liked to show on campus that's been already done by some academics elsewhere that you could just show your students. Much better than, say, putting a diagram or trying to describe it in words. Another one might be, in my field of earth sciences, there are some videos where people have actually taken the students virtually to a field site in a very, very remote place. So for example, on my own MOOC on dinosaur ecosystems, we take students to the middle of nowhere in the Gobi Desert. Those are great resources that, if they are relevant, you can kind of bring into your course. And it's stuff that you wouldn't be able to do to kind of make them from scratch for your class, but you can leverage that work that's already been done. A final point I would like to bring up is to do with group discussions, because Zoom does have an upper limit of about 100 participants, but managing groups of that size is basically impossible, and it becomes really chaotic. So, my own experience in speaking with different colleagues that have used Zoom a lot for discussions, 12 is kind of the ideal number of students you want in a group. So if you have a discussion that you want to involve 30 people, then you should be thinking about perhaps having 3 separate discussions so that you can really ensure that those 10 students in the 3 groups are really getting the high quality experience that you're after. In terms of managing discussion, I guess consistency, if you've got multiple groups doing the same discussion, is to maybe nominate one person from each sub-discussion and talking with them in your own little discussion so they can then report back to their own group. So that way you can ensure that everyone's kind of collectively had a good experience. Or another way is, rather than doing that, have some sort of roundup video where you look at all the discussions and from the 3 that you've looked at, try and repeat and summarize the key points.